Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Q3 FY21 results conference call of Monte Carlo hosted by Emkay Global Financial Services Limited. We have with us today from the management Mr. Dinesh Gogna, Director, Mr. Sandeep Jain, Executive Director, and Mr. Rishabh Oswal, Executive Director. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions at the end of today's presentation. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Devanshu Bansal from Emkay Global. Thank you, and over to you, Mr. Bansal.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome the Monte Carlo management team and thank them for giving us this opportunity. I shall now hand over the call to the management team for their opening remarks. Over to you, gentlemen.
Very good morning and Happy New Year to everyone just on this earning call. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of our Board of Directors and our senior management to this earning conference call to discuss our financial performance for the third quarter and 9 months of financial 21. Thank you all once again for sparing your valuable time and joining us here today. Before sharing the recent developments and strategies undertaken for growth going forward, let me provide the key financial indicators reported during the quarter 3 of financial 21. Revenue during the quarter stands at 403 crore as against 403 crore in Q3 financial 20. The company reported gross margins of 41.8% in quarter 3 of financial 21. The operating EBITDA margin during the quarter stood at 28.8% vis-a-vis 26.4% in Q3 of financial 20. So revenue for the 9 months for financial 21 stands at 513 crore as against 616 crore last year. The company reported gross margins of 46.5% in 9 months of financial 21. The operating EBITDA margin for 9 months of financial 21 stood at 22.8% vis-a-vis 20.2% in 9 months of financial 20. So we have strategically eyed for increased revenue contribution from online sales, and I'm happy to share that the increased traction from this channel, online sale for quarter 3 stood at 18.1 crore against 13.3 crore during the same period last financial year. With regards to online sales, we are looking to focus more on selling through our own portals. The company's performance during the quarter was encouraging. With the easing of COVID restrictions in most parts of the country, the company was able to operate with full capacity. The company remained focused on stimulating customer demand with various strategic tie-ups. Monte Carlo continues to enjoy a comfortable net cash position and its medium-term liquidity needs are well covered. With adequate banking limits in place, its ability to service debts and financial obligations on time remains unaffected. Monte Carlo has zero reliance on export and has a presence in domestic market across India with an extensive distribution network. The good credit terms with our suppliers help us operate the business smoothly. No major capex is planned for the next 2 financial years. Therefore, positive operating leverage expected as the production gains scales. We are strongly focused towards enhancing our shareholders' value, and by following an asset-light model in this endeavor, we are focusing on optimizing our asset utilization, quality, efficiencies, and relationships. While our focus will be to maximize revenue growth going forward, large interest is to build profitability by maintaining cost control measures. If any of you have any queries post this earning call, you may connect us or Dickinson World, our investor relation agency. We can now open the floor for a question and answer session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The first question is from the line of Zaki Naskar, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Go ahead, sir, you're audible.
Yes. Good morning, and sir, congratulations on a great set of numbers for the third quarter. Sir, as we realize that this is mid of February, what would your outlook for the full year be, sir? Would you be able, at least on a revenue basis, to touch last year? This is the question number one. And question number two is, in the budget there was a 10% increase in import of cotton. So would this affect Monte Carlo, because I think we use the high-end cotton, sir? Thanks a lot,
sir. Thank you. The first question you asked for the revenues for this financial year. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So actually, in the beginning of the financial year, we have given the guidance that our revenue will be down 20 to 25% as compared to last year, seeing the circumstances at that point of time. But we further revised our guidance, seeing the pleasant surprises in the economic recovery, which has happened in last 6 months, and seeing the trends, which is the economy has gained momentum. So we are revising our guidance to degrowth of 10 to 15% as compared to last financial year, particularly for this financial year. And your second question was the imposing of 10% of import duty on the cotton. The cotton prices in the domestic markets have already risen, and it is almost in comparison to the prices which is there in the international market. So anyhow, the prices are almost 15 to 20% up as compared to last year. And even if the import duty is imposed, the price remains around 15 to 20% higher as compared to last year. Yes, definitely there will be pressure on the input cost, which is going to rise, but not in this financial year. It may affect the prices in the next financial year, as now the cotton purchase for this financial year has been done in September, October. But for the purchase for the next financial year will be done in the March, April and May. So it may increase prices in the next financial year, not in this financial year.
And sir, what would your opinion be on the rise in yarn prices? Because I believe the yarn prices have risen more than the cotton prices. So does that affect Monte Carlo in any way, sir?
See, again I repeat what I said, that in this financial year will not be going to affect it, because we covered our all cotton yarn basically in September and October for the summer production. For next year, yes, there will be increase in prices, as the yarn prices are risen more as compared to cotton prices. The reason being is that the demand is more as compared to last year. So as the economy opened up, and the demand has come from export region as well as domestic region also. So the cotton yarn prices have rapidly risen from last year's levels, and I think the next year it will definitely increase the input cost, and subsequently we need to increase our garment prices also.
Okay, so you expect them to remain firm for some time to come, sir?
See, we cannot say that the price will sustain because normally we have seen that even anything rises very suddenly, so there are some corrections also. So I'm not sure that whether these increased prices will remain there for next 3 to 4 months, but we need to see very cautiously how this price movement happens.
Okay, sir, thank you. And if I may, just one last question, sir. This is regarding your mix between casual wear and winter wear. How do you see that mix panning out, sir? Do you see any change post-COVID?
See, you are talking about the casual wear and winter wear, or cotton or winters?
Cotton and winters.
Cotton. See, as we have seen in the last few financial years, the cotton segment has been growing in double digits, and the woolen segment has been growing single digits. So we anticipate that this trajectory will continue and will keep on continuing a double-digit growth of cotton garments. But in the next financial year, we are very optimistic about our woolen garments also, because we have seen that the stocks are very less at the retail level and also at the company's level. So that may help us gaining a good growth in coming financial year for the woolen segment also.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, and best of luck, sir.
Excuse me, I just want to add one thing more. This is Dinesh Gogna. As Mr. Jain has informed you that there is a degrowth to the extent of say 10 to 15% in this year. This is the revised guidelines, which he has given. So probably he would like to convey to you this thing also. Irrespective of that thing, we are very, very conscious to control our expenditure at all levels. Resulting thereof, though there is a degrowth in the revenue, nevertheless, our profits are as comparable or rather better than the last year. And this endeavor will continue.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Deepan Shankar from Trustline Portfolio Management Service. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, and congrats for good woolen growth. Sir, what is the key reason for 14% drop in cotton revenues during Q3? So is it due to lower jacket sales or other cotton goods?
See, basically, the first and foremost reason is there have been drop in productions because we could not produce as we have limited time for the production of some of the jacketing material also. The major drop is in jackets. The reason being is that also we are not able to get some fabrics from China, Korea and Italy as there have been some restrictions. And also we have not been able to produce because of labor and other disruptions. As woolen sweaters are in-house, so we didn't face much difficulties in producing the woolen sweaters. But yes, as we had outsourcing of jackets and other garments, that definitely affected our cotton segment in this financial year.
Okay. So this extended winter, so we could see some amount of growth in woolen in Q4 also than compared to last year.
See, basically, Q4 is basically end of season sales period, and also the Q4 is basically more of summer sales. So we would say the cotton garment sales picking up in Q4, and yes, USS, whatever stocks we have left, we need to clear this in this quarter also.
Okay. And sir, higher woolen contribution should have increased our gross margins during Q3. But slightly gross margins have reduced by some 52 basis. What is the reason?
See, basically the textile sales have gone up, so that has affected the gross margins. Yeah, the textile sale is up as compared to last year, so that's the main reason for this.
Okay. And also in the
gross margin overall.
Yeah, understandable. Okay. Also in the presentation for MBO and distributors, you mentioned that it has gone down to 1572 as compared to last year of 2,500 plus. So any specific reason?
The reasons are same because of pandemic. Most of the MBOs didn't book the same quantities which they booked pre-COVID levels. Everybody is very apprehensive. But as far as our LFS, online and EPOs are concerned, as they are most of them owned by us, so they were very confident. But not all the MBOs were confident enough to have the same level of inventory which they used to carry in 2019. So that is the reason that the sales for MBO and SIS have gone down, and also retail have also gone down. Because the reason being is that at that point of time when the booking happened in April and May, not everybody was pretty confident about how this economic recovery will take place in coming 6 months.
Okay. No, my question was actually related to number of MBOs which we have mentioned. That is around 1572 MBOs and distributors as compared to 2,500 plus MBO and distributors last year.
Yes.
Not on sale.
It's clearly evident that the number of MBOs which purchased the winter garments are down as compared to last year, but still the sales are almost same. So that means that the existing MBOs or the MBOs which have bought, they have bought more quantities as compared to last year, which have balanced up the sales.
Okay. So we have not lost touch with them, but they have not billed during this year. That's the only idea, right?
Pardon?
We have not billed for the remaining MBO and distributors during this year. That's why we have not taken them into account.
No. They have not bought any goods in winters in this financial year. That is why they have not included.
Okay.
They
Got it.
are existing MBOs, but they have not booked for the winter quantities.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir, and all the best.
Everybody was very confident about the economic recovery which happened, in last 6 months.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Devendra Pandey from DP Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Thanks for taking my question, and congratulations on good set of numbers. Sir, can you throw some light on our blended realizations for this quarter versus the same quarter last year and compared to the previous quarter?
You're talking about cotton segment or winter segment? Woolen segment?
I'm talking about the blended, but if you wish to give the numbers separately, that would be better.
I didn't understood. What are you saying? Blended means what?
The overall net realization.
Okay.
नहीं blended as in
Complete.
gross margin 47%.
Gross margin is 47%, and last year it was
48%.
48%. So it's a drop of around 100 basis points in the gross margin level.
No. I'm talking about the realization per piece.
See, we don't have a separate realization per piece as of now.
Okay. So do you have segment-wise realizations by any chance?
Yeah, we can definitely ask our finance department to send you the email you all the realizations of all the segments, cotton and winter segments.
Sure. And my last question would be on our expansion plan. So can you give us some guideline on our capex plans for next 2-3 years?
The capex we have already given the guidance. It should be around 10 to 15 CR for going forward for next 2 financial years. And this year capex was I think around 12 crore as of date, and we expect 2 to 3 crore more in this 3 months. So it should be 15 crore. And going forward, the expansion plans, I think we're going to open another 25 EBOs in the next financial year. In this year, we've added around 17 as of date, and there are 3-4 more are in the opening process in the next 1 quarter. And we are focusing a lot on the online sales, which I think Rishabh can talk about for LFS and online sales. I'll give this mic to Rishabh.
So as you've seen, the online sales have grown if you compare 9 months of this year with the last year, and we are continuing to focus on the online segment. We expect to grow by 35 to 40% next year also. And in terms of national chain stores, we are continuously adding stores, and we've also added some new partners. With the existing partners also who were dealing only with the men's category, they've agreed to do pilots with the women and the kids categories as well. So these two, and we are also increasing our focus on the corporate segment, because over there good pricing power is there with us along with good payment terms. So that is one more segment where we are focusing our attention towards.
Okay. Thanks.
And I would like to add here that there is definitely we're seeing a good growth in coming up in textiles also, which I think this was the only segment in whole our Monte Carlo which has grown despite the pandemic, and we see a good growth coming up in the next financial year as well.
Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mihir Desai from Desai Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity. So my first question would be on a macro strategy front. So I just wanted to know that, sir, from say 2 years down the line, how do we see our product or category diversification, sir?
I think this we have mentioned in our previous phone calls also, that focus should be on the cotton segment, which is growing double digit, and also it is one area which is present around the year, and geographically also we are present throughout, which can give us good traction in the coming 2-3 financial years. But again, woolen is from where we started, and we are fundamentally very strong as far as our woolen segment is concerned. And this is also one segment which has grown despite pandemic in this financial year, as well as we have seen the sales which was 147 last year, it has gone to 153. So growth of around 5% despite there is a production hiccups, despite labor disruptions. So I think the existing segments which are woolen, which is our core business, will definitely keep on adding growth to the company's business, and the newer segments, which is like kids, the Cloak and Decker, Rocket, and our textile segment and the cotton segment will keep on giving the growth to the company. So all these combined together, we see that we should grow double digit in next financial year as well on these basis.
Okay. So basically, the dependability on woolen would, considerably decrease going forward, and kids and home textile should become double digit in say next 2 to 3 years.
I don't think that woolen will go down. Woolen will definitely grow, but it will grow less faster than the cotton segment and other segments. So definitely the growth pillars would be the cotton segment, textiles, and other areas which have been growing faster than the woolen segments, because the trend is becoming more and more casual. People are preferring more sweaters, sweatshirts, and jackets. So that is why it is giving us more growth in winters as well. So combining all these factors, I think it should help the company to grow in the coming 2 financial year as well.
Understood. Sir, and just one on, accounting questions which I wanted to ask you, that if I see the current quarter, that is Q3 FY21, the cost optimization has been very much good. So if I want to compare this cost sequentially, like for coming quarters, should I believe that, so basically I am asking this because now we are moving towards, normality or the normal business course. So how do you see these expenses increase? Like what can be a normalized expenses going forward, sir?
Yeah, thank you. It's a very good question. See, definitely, I think in the COVID times, there have been some deduction of the salaries. There have been cut in the traveling cost. There have been cut in the advertising cost. There have been cut in other expenses, which was a need of the time, a need of the hour at that point of time. But I don't think that all these benefits will continue in the coming times. So there are some benefits which are going to stay with us, which has taught us how to manage the business without traveling in some of the places. And there are some areas in advertising and business promotion where we used to spend a lot. We used to have a trade shows twice in a year where we used to spend around 4 to 5 CR, which we have cut down in this financial year, and I think we'll have some savings in the coming years as well. So there are some areas which will definitely continue in the future as well, and there are some areas where we don't have savings in the going forward. And also, I would say that in this time there are many things which we have learned in 9 months, which has given a savings to the company, and those will also continue.
Correct, sir. And so a basic EBITDA margin, what we can assume, sir?
See, I think this quarter's EBITDA is exceptional. I don't think that it's easy to manage by cutting each and every cost which we used to cut in this financial year. I think if we see the pre-COVID level EBITDA, that is very much possible, and improvement of EBITDA from pre-COVID level is definitely very much possible.
Okay. And just last question, sir, that the finance cost also would be at similar levels only?
Finance cost should be similar level. I don't see a significant change in this level.
Sure, sir. So that would be a big positive for the company. So, yeah. Sir, thank you. If I have more questions, sir, I'll join the queue.
You're most welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you may press star and 1 to ask a question.
Will come down.
The next question is from the line of Vipul Shah from RW Equity Advisors. Please go ahead.
So what we have seen is in a lot of companies, the working capital cycles have really benefited a host of companies. I presume for Monte Carlo also, since it's a fairly tightly run ship, the benefits of working capital would have flown in terms of increased cash flow from operations. Is that understanding correct, sir, for the 9-month period?
Yes, you are correct. Absolutely correct.
So then, sir, from a stakeholder perspective, what Monte Carlo had done in 2019, and it is a stated objective of the company to consistently improve return ratios. So, sir, is there any thought process or plans of another buyback, right now with the board, so that, with the excess cash which is there in the books, consistently improving working capital and the objective of improving return ratios, it should be a sort of win-win situation for all the stakeholders. So is the company planning to institute another buyback, sir?
To be very honest, this year has been a year for seeing a lot of changes which is happening in the company, and we were all discussing and deliberating on the issues how to survive this financial year with definitely better than others, than our peers. So I think focus was definitely on cutting the costs and also to make this company, stand out as compared to our peers in this financial year. So no thought has been given, particularly in any board meeting, about the buyback or about any other area. I think because this was the year where we are just finding and assessing ourselves how we can move ahead in this pandemic. So definitely now I think most of the problems have been sorted out and the country is progressing, economic recovery is happening, vaccination is continuing. So these things may come up in the board meetings in the next financial year, as definitely there will be positive cash flows in the company. So company will do anything which is best in the interest of shareholders and its investors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask the question. The next question is from the line of Zaki Nasir, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, sir.
Sir, see, this quarter our advertising expenses have come down notably. So would this be the difference? Would be the trade show expenses which was not held in this quarter, sir? And my second question again would be, we were importing some blankets for resale into the Indian markets from China. So that import is still on, or that has become slightly difficult to do, sir? Thank you.
So the first question was about advertising cost, and what was the second question? Import of blankets?
About the import of blankets from China.
Okay. So, see, as far as advertising cost is concerned, definitely it has come down in this financial year as compared to last year, because effort was to cut down the cost. And I think it will rise in the next financial year. There have been no trade shows also in this financial year. We used to have for our booking, and most of the time online booking has been done, which has saved the cost. So that has saved almost around 4 to 4.5 CR in this financial year. And there is a possibility of trade show coming in the future as well, so it can increase the cost at that point of time. In advertising, we have gone more for digital advertising, as the theatres were closed. We used to spend around 5 to 6 crore on theatres in full financial year, but no movies have been released and there have not been any advertising as far as cinemas are concerned. So that has also saved the cost. So going forward, we think that we should be around 2 to 3% of advertising spend will be doing on the turnover, which we used to do 3 to 4% in the last 2-3 years. So as far as import of blankets is concerned, definitely it is on. We are importing blankets, and we have imported more blankets as compared to last year, as demand was more, as a rural area was never affected. So that is one area where people give blankets in the marriage and wedding season, which was still on, and so we were not affected as far as our textile sales are concerned. Even though we improved from last financial year, it has improved by around 5%, even though every segment was down. But the blanket segment was one which is actually improved as compared to last year.
Thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. The next question is from the line of Mihir Desai from Desai Investments. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Sir, just a follow-up question. I just wanted to ask regarding the healthcare segment, sir. I think we had mentioned something in Q1 or something.
See, healthcare segment, we started seeing the need of the masks and the PPE kit by our medical fraternity. It was more of a social service from our end. I won't say that it was a proper business proposition at that point of time. The need was to make available masks to the hospitals and to the medical fraternity. So we did imported some machines, and we produced, I think, around 40-50 lakh masks. I think only 3 to 4 lakh masks are pending, which we already sold out. And now the demand for masks and PP kit is almost zero. There is no demand right now, so that segment we already closed.
Okay. Okay. Sure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal. Please go ahead. Devanshu Bansal, may I request you to unmute your line from your side and go ahead with the question?
Sir, our relative performance has been much better than the industry. The industry players have reported 20-30% decline, and we have kind of reported a flattish quarter. So obviously we are gaining market share here. So what according to you has helped? If you can categorize in terms of key things that we have done in terms of channels like EBO, MBO?
I think the first and foremost thing which has helped us to have the flattish quarter rather than the decline as it happened in other brands was the confidence we have in our brand. I think when we were in March and April, when everybody was cutting down their production, we were just thinking of how we can increase our production and how we can continue our operation and how we can start the operation despite the difficulties which we were facing in labor disruptions and other areas. So I think that was the trust we have in our brand, and most of the brands basically could not produce the winter garments, and also they were very apprehensive of the fact that how this COVID will last and how this will affect. So we took a risk. We just streamlined our production lines, and we just did whatever best we could do to produce the required garments which were required for our EBOs and LFS. So I think that has helped the brand to have the pre-COVID level sales, which we did in last financial year. So that was, I think, definitely, I would say that this has been our best quarter till date as far as Monte Carlo is concerned. And I have seen the results of our other apparel brands also. You are right, there have been decline of around 20 to 30%, and also there have been decline in EBITDA and margins as well. I think this has helped us planning in advance about the production and also about the demand prospects which is coming up on the way.
Right. And sir, if we take only about MBO channel, obviously that remains impacted, as you also highlighted, like only about 1,500, 1,600 distributor placed orders with us. So just on this, how are secondary sales in the MBO channel? Maybe that may help in the primary sales in the coming quarters.
I would ask Rishi to answer this.
See, in MBO we have two segments. One is the outright MBO sales, and the second is SIS sales. We don't track the secondary sales of the MBO market. It is just through the information that we hear from agents and retailers. As far as SIS sales are confirmed, it is at par with last year. So we are having the same sale through rate as we had last year. So, and we are expecting a good growth in the booking for next year as well. For MBOs, unfortunately, we do not have the secondary sales data, but the feedback has been good in that segment as well.
Outright sale too.
That is an outright sale for us.
Okay. Sure, that's it from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of C.S. Chaudhary from CFS Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good day to the management. I have a question on competition. I have noticed that there have been some international brands, international chains which are into winter garments, things like Uniqlo and all, very well established products, very well established brands. How do they affect you?
See, Uniqlo has come up in last 2 financial years, and if we say Zara and H&M, they were almost 6 to 7 years back. Definitely, they are present in the market, but I think that we have our own niche as compared to some of our loyalty customers, some of our privileged customers and loyal customers to Monte Carlo brand. We have been there in this market from last 30 years. So we have a very loyal base of customers, so which is continuing to support the brand. Even in this pandemic also, we have seen that the customers are definitely sporting the Monte Carlo brand vis-a-vis other brands. So yes, those brands are definitely providing a competition to us, but they are not present in all the cities. They are only present in some of the metros, and we are present almost I think every nook and corner in northern, eastern, and central region. So that is the base we have as compared to those brands. But definitely yes, the competition is still there, and competition can only help us to improve our service and our products as well.
We are increasing to 3-tier cities also.
Yeah, just to press on a little bit, I do appreciate the management has Monte Carlo brand is a very, very strong brand. So what I was actually looking at was the positivity that once you have a strong brand and other brands also who have strong brands in the international market, when they come in, they make an impact. So same way in the innovative marketing like digital and online, I think Monte Carlo, looking at it positively, should endeavor to make a much better mark and give a run for the money to these international brands. Do you have a comment?
We are doing that. We're doing our best to, whatever you said that giving a run for our money. So we are trying our best. There are areas where I think these brands have not reached the many cities in India as well as in many other parts of the country. So we are present there, and we welcome them to come over there and give us the competition. At the same time, they're present in metros, and we have seen that they're present in Delhi or in some other areas. Our sales have actually grown. Even in the same mall where they are present, like they were not there before. If we compare our sales of last 2-3 years, actually we have grown even if those brands have come up. So definitely every brand has its own advantages and disadvantages. We have our loyal base of customers which is supporting us, and definitely when the new brand comes like Uniqlo, H&M, and Zara, they also give us more things to work harder on our products, and our designing team is actually working harder on them so that we can definitely compete with them in the future.
Yeah. One last question, that during this COVID times, there has been a general perception that there has been a very tough time for small and medium enterprises, and in the kind of in every product line, in every manufacturing activity, there are suppliers who are in the small and medium sector, as well as end product industry is also there in the small and medium sector. So do you think that in terms of competitive intensity, you would have been better off because the small and medium sector has been very seriously affected? As far as your end product line is concerned, has the competitive intensity decreased in any way? And also in terms of your supply chain, any vendors, did you have any problems that some of the small and medium people perished or went down and were not able to recover? That's my last question, sir.
Yeah, thank you. I think the first will come with the second part, the vendor part. I think it was our responsibility and our duty to support the vendors in the pandemic. So at that point of time, there has been a crunch in the liquidity. The small manufacturers, our vendors, they didn't have the money to pay the laborers. So we paid them in advance. We also paid them the cash payments whenever they supply the goods, just to support our vendor base, because they were the one who were supporting us from last so many years. So it was our duty and responsibility to help them in this time of pandemic so that they can also survive and supply us in time. And that actually happened. So when we supported them in the March and April, so they supplied us the goods in time. And it didn't happen with some other small vendors who were there with other brands, as they have delayed the payments. So those vendors also approached us, sir, please give us the goods as Monte Carlo is helping their vendors. So I think these kind of gestures and these kind of things we need to do, even as a humanity also, and as well as in the interest of business also. If you are not supporting your vendors and partners, definitely you won't be supported in your business as well. So that's what we have learned, that in the time of difficulties, we have to support each other to get things going. So the second question was, what was the second question?
The reduction in competitive intensity at the end product side.
Yeah, so So what happened is that at that point of time when the pandemic happened, so one problem was the lockdown. So okay, that many people knew that the lockdown is coming, but the second biggest problem which was coming was the going back of the labor. So the government has not done anything at that point of time that how to stop the labor, immigrant labor, which was staying in various cities, industrial cities like in Ludhiana also, and the industrialists were not paying the money to them. So the workers didn't have any options except to go back to their homes and have their living over there. But what we did is that we paid the labor. We knew that this pandemic is not going to last for months. So it's the only question of 15 days, 20 days or 1 month at a time. It doesn't bother us because they were working with us from last so many years. So we helped them to stay, and that is one area which has helped to resume the production in April itself. Most of the, I think, companies, they could not start their production in July as well because of labor production. But we could start the production by April end itself, which was, I think, one of the few in industry. And yes, there were many small and medium enterprises, as you have rightly said, because labor was not there, because finances were not there, so they could not start the operation till July. So that has affected them badly. And that's also one of the reasons that some of the industry could not produce the required goods in time, and they could not supply timely goods to various brands and to the retailers also.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Very nice interacting with you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devanshu Bansal. Please go ahead.
Sir, thanks for a follow-up. So how is the discounting trend in the market as of now, which you're seeing in the month of January?
It has not changed. It's same as last financial year. People knew that the discounts are coming, every year. And so normally what happens is that after 20th of December, the sales normally go down because they knew that the brands, particularly international brands, because they don't have a patience at all. So they just start the discount in the mid-December as well. So we need to, when everybody else is on the discount season, so we just cannot say that we cannot offer the discount. So we have also given the discount in last week of December. And January is as usual, everybody is giving 40%, 30% discount. In February first week, everyone is giving a flat 50% discount, which is still continuing in Monte Carlo as well. So discount for season is almost same as compared to last season.
Okay, and one last question from my side. So you mentioned that we do not have much presence in exports currently, but with Government of India announcing these textile parks, 7 textile parks, any benefits that we can derive out of these incentives?
We need to read the policy thoroughly. Unless and until we go through it thoroughly, I think it's not prudent on my part to comment on this policy.
Okay, that's it from my side. Thanks for taking my questions.
Thank you. A reminder to all the participants, you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Anyone who wishes to ask a question, you may press star and 1. As there are no further questions, I will now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
I once again thank you all on behalf of Monte Carlo's management. And please feel free to write if there is any query which we can definitely has not been answered in this conference call. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On behalf of Emkay Global Financial Services Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us. You may now disconnect your lines. Thank you.